The Ashford House murders. It began with a single missed shift, the kind of small detail that normally means nothing. But in the quiet, fog-coated town of Ashford, Maine, that absence would unravel a mystery so disturbing that the community would still speak about it a decade later. On November 18, 2013, Lydia Harper was supposed to clock in at 6:30 a.m. sharp. For 17 years, Lydia had never once been late. Not for snowstorms. Not for holidays. Not for emergencies. So when she didn't show up and didn't call, her supervisor knew something was wrong. By 7:05 a.m., Lydia's older sister Claire was driving to her house on Hawthorne Street. She expected to find Lydia sick or maybe asleep, something simple. But as she pulled into the driveway, something felt off. The curtains in the living room, Lydia's pride always neatly tied, were drawn shut. And her car, a light blue Honda Civic, was parked crooked, like it had been left in a hurry. Claire pushed the front door and realized it wasn't locked. It swung open with a slow creak. "Lydia?" she called. Silence. Then, the sound of something dripping. She stepped into the hallway, her eyes adjusting to the dim light. That's when she saw the overturned table. The lamp shattered on the floor. The picture frame with Lydia's graduation photo cracked beneath it. And just a few feet beyond, at the base of the staircase, Lydia. Her body lay twisted, one hand reaching toward the steps, her glasses smashed beside her. A thin streak of blood ran down from her temple to the hardwood floor. Claire's scream was heard 3 houses down. Detective Marcus Rowe arrived on the scene at 8:14 a.m. He took one look around and knew it wasn't a fall. There were scuff marks on the wall. A kitchen chair was knocked over. A drawer had been pulled open. Signs of a struggle, but no forced entry. Whoever had done this, Lydia had let them in. Inside Lydia's bedroom, officers found something else strange. Small items were missing. A necklace, a pair of earrings, a photo album. Not expensive things, personal things. Rowe later said. It was as if the killer wanted souvenirs, not valuables. Within hours, detectives had their first suspect, Ethan Crawford, Lydia's ex-boyfriend. Their relationship had ended 3 months earlier, but not quietly. Neighbors heard shouting. Co-workers saw bruised eyes from nights Lydia cried. Twice, Ethan had shown up at her clinic yelling her name down the hallway. Police found Ethan sitting alone behind the closed hardware store where he worked. He looked hollow, unshaven, trembling. "I didn't touch her," he whispered before anyone even asked. Ethan admitted he was still in love with Lydia. He admitted he had driven near her street more than once since the breakup. But he insisted he hadn't seen her for weeks. Detectives were torn. Ethan was emotional, volatile, but something didn't line up. This murder wasn't impulsive. It was controlled, focused, almost patient. And Ethan wasn't patient. Then came a discovery that shifted the entire direction of the case. Lydia's phone logs showed that her last call, placed just 48 minutes before her death, was to Dr. Michael Larson, a colleague. Michael was married, a respected physician, soft-spoken, calm, too calm. When detectives questioned him, his hands kept shaking. He couldn't remember why Lydia had called him, or so he claimed. But co-workers told detectives something else. Michael and Lydia often stayed late together. They walked out to their cars at the same time. They exchanged long glances when they thought no one was watching. Rumors of an emotional affair had been circulating for months. Then detectives learned something even more troubling. Michael's wife, Jessica, had filed for divorce 8 weeks earlier, citing marital betrayal. But she never said with whom. A week into the investigation, Lydia's sister returned with a small discovery, a coat with an unusually heavy lining. Inside, detectives found a hidden notebook. The pages were filled with Lydia's uneasy handwriting. "I hear footsteps again on the porch. Someone keeps opening the gate at night. I think someone is watching the house." And then one chilling line. "If something happens to me, check upstairs." Check upstairs? Detectives rushed back to the house. There, in the small rented room Lydia had opened for extra income, lived Darren Holt, a soft-spoken, almost invisible tenant who had moved in only 3 weeks before the murder. He worked overnight shifts, paid in cash, left no digital footprint. At first he seemed harmless, polite, quiet, almost forgettable. But Lydia's notebook suggested otherwise. She wrote, "He listens when he thinks I don't notice. I found my bedroom door open again. Something about him isn't right." Still, detectives needed evidence. And then they got it. Forensic analysis of Lydia's fingernails revealed skin cells, the kind scraped off during a struggle. When the results came back, the entire department froze. It wasn't Ethan, it wasn't Michael, it wasn't Jessica. It was Darren Holt, the quiet man upstairs, the one everyone overlooked. Police found Darren at a bus depot at 4:12 a.m., a single duffel bag at his feet. He didn't fight, he didn't run, he didn't even look surprised. Inside the interrogation room, his calmness was chilling. He confessed slowly, almost methodically, as though describing a routine day. He had become obsessed with Lydia from the moment he'd moved in, her kindness, her calm voice, her routine. He had listened through the thin floorboards, watched her walk through the living room at night, read her mail, stolen small keepsakes. In his mind, he believed Lydia cared for him, that she needed him. But when Lydia confronted him about missing items, when she told him he had to leave, something in him snapped. "She said she didn't want me here anymore," he whispered. "I didn't want to leave." It was delusion, a fantasy that collapsed into violence. In court, Darren showed no emotion. Not when the jury replayed the 9/11 call. Not when Lydia's sister described finding her body. Not when the sentence was read, 48 years without parole. But the scars he left on the town of Ashford linger. Neighbors still avoid the house on Hawthorne Street. New owners renovated it, painted the walls, replaced the staircase, but people swear the atmosphere feels heavy. Detective Rowe later summarized the case with a line that stuck with everyone. "We looked at the jealous ex, the affair, the wife, but the truth wasn't outside the house. The danger was living above her bedroom. Evil doesn't always break in, sometimes it already has a room upstairs."